hopefully you'll find this really informative. And again, we very much want to answer your questions about, first and foremost, promoting your events around the state, and then certainly additional questions you might have on ways to leverage LaunchEZ. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Tim, and I'm going to put myself on mute. So, Tim, it's all yours.
Okay, great. Thanks, Bill, and thanks everyone for joining us today on this call. So just to give you start with a little bit of background and context on LaunchEZ, so you kind of know where we're coming from. My company, Sound Web Solutions, provides web development and consulting services to startup companies that are specifically web and mobile-based companies. I've been doing that since 2009, so I've seen quite a few companies come through with different issues, and over the years I've always had the need to connect them to different resources around the state, and always had like a little database of my own of different people that I would send them to. And in 2013, I started this project of LaunchEZ, basically to have a website where folks could go to kind of find resources in the state based on different criteria. So instead of just being a list, it would say, hey, I'm just in the idea phase and I'm looking for someone who could help me with marketing strategy, and it would direct them to that type of a thing instead of just being a list. And then around the beginning of 2015, the Metro Hartford Alliance did this big survey called the Jumpstart Survey. I think it was 2015, and they interviewed a bunch of different organizations and entrepreneurs to find out how we could improve the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And that time was around the greater Hartford area, but a lot of people participated in the survey. And one of the top things were access to resources, being able to find resources easier. So I went and talked with John Chimo at Metro Hartford and said, hey, I have this information already ready. It's already available on a website. And after a little bit of time, John's like, well, could we put that on our website? So we developed a way for us to kind of white label the information I had, and we added it to their website, and soon after did the same thing with CT Next. And over the past couple of years, we've evolved the platform and the resources. So now we have close to 600 resources in the database that are for entrepreneurs that are categorized under a number of different ways, which I'll get into. And we also have the event calendar, which we're talking about today, and a couple other features which I'll talk about. But that's kind of how things got started. So since we're starting with the calendar, let's start there and kind of show. So this is and I hope everyone is online to see, because a lot of this is a demonstration. But we're recording it. If folks aren't seeing it, they'll be able to go back and see the video later on. But what I have up on the screen now is our calendar widget, and basically it allows users to come in and see any entrepreneurial-facing event. So it's open to any organization that has some sort of event that would be targeted towards entrepreneurs. We go back quite a ways. My browser doesn't lock up on me here. That they can go back and look at previous months. Yeah, so they can go back and look at previous months, and they can also kind of filter events by a few different things. So we have different types of events. We have events where they'll learn something, where we'll solve a problem, or where they'll connect with others. They can sort events based on their business phase, whether they're just in the idea phase all the way up through scaling their business, or if they're looking for different categories of events, they can kind of go in and apply filters. If they're looking for knowledge on a specific topic or those kinds of things, they can pull up events based on that. So like I said, it's open to any organization that wants to add events in. And we also have a statistics tab. So as an event organizer, you can look at the calendar itself to see what other people are doing and what events are happening. But we also have a statistics tab where you can go in and kind of learn a little bit about the events that we have in the calendar, what phases of business are being targeted, what types of events are there, and what categories of events are also in there. How many, and this is percentage of the events that have these particular categories attributed to them. I'll talk about that here in a couple minutes. So we started off, as I mentioned, as a resource database. I'll open up a couple more tabs here. So it's LaunchEZ. So we started off with basically the same categories that I just showed you for the events we have set up for resources. And people could search based on keyword or go into a category and kind of break down, say they're looking for early stage capital. It'll show them just resources that can help them with early stage capital, and they can go into the profile on those things and learn about them, where they're located, how to reach out to them. And that's where we started. And then we kind of branched out to these different white labeled sites, as I mentioned. So if you go to CT Next's website and you go under resources to their resource wizard, that takes them to this wizard module that we have, where folks can go in based on what phase their business is in and what they're looking for. And it will bring up just those resources that kind of fit their stage and what they're looking for. And even they can put in their location, and some location-based resources will get sorted for them based on locations. So say it's like a co-working space or something along those lines. For Metro Hartford Alliance, they have a website that they set up called Innovation Destination Hartford. And basically on that site, we power all of their events. There's a startup module that we have, and we also power their resources section. So if you're out on their website, you can see they can do keyword searches there. They can start the wizard. They can go into the various categories. And then we also have a feature where they can go into kind of quick links. We can create pages of the resources that will link them to, just specific sets of resources based on some criteria like co-working spaces. So then our partners can then go in and access, go back to my LaunchEZ page here. Okay. So our partners will have access to this partner dashboard screen, where they can go in and see what users are doing on the site, which helps us improve the database. So like in the past month, we can see how many searches were done. We can break it down by partner. What were people searching for? What types of modules were they using? What phases were they in? And primarily the big thing is like, what were they searching for? So I took some of this information and put it into a slide that I thought was kind of helpful for this particular call, which shows that during June, this left-hand section are the categories of searches that were done, and the right side shows, the events that we actually had so we had 130 searches for capital, but only 7% of our events, which I think were 2 events, had capital as a theme during the event. Marketing was a little bit better, but we can use this information to kind of improve what types of events we have in the calendar, or maybe say this is what people are looking for, and how can we kind of tailor the events that we have towards what people are searching for. So let's talk a little bit now about how you can use LaunchEZ for your organization. So to start off, you just, I'm on the wrong browser again. Here. If you were to visit any of the calendar pages, whether it's on the ctevents.co or on our calendar page or wherever, you can click on the Add Your Entrepreneurial Events, and you'll get to this page called How to Add Your Events. It basically kind of walks you through the steps. So if you were to visit our join page, that's the first step. If you don't already have an account, and a lot of folks on the call already do, you can create an account there. You can also see if your organization is already in the database. So if you were to start typing in the name of your organization, it'll come up and it will tell you whether you already have someone in the system that's managing that account or not, and if so, who it is. So, like for example, if I went to Reset, looked up Reset here, you'd be able to see who's running it for Reset as an example. And I also have a video out here on how to go and add or edit resources or events out here as well. Speaking of Reset, I also want to show you the implementation we have for them because it has a couple other features that are important to the platform. So for Reset, the main, which we also have these on the Metro Hartford site, but if you come out to their startups page, you'll see that we have a startup module that shows all the startups that are affiliated with Reset that are on the LaunchEZ platform, and you can click through and learn more about those startups and how to contact them through their profile here. This is all our white labeled version of the Reset site. If new startups come and apply and register through Reset's white labeled site, they can get on here and become affiliated with Reset that way automatically. We also do the same thing with their mentor network. If folks are in our mentor database and they're affiliated with Reset, they'll show up on the mentor page, and then users can come and look for people who have particular expertise and find those mentors that would be a good match for them. So when you do register and we connect you to your organization on LaunchEZ, I'll go on my other account here. You just click on your name and you'll end up on your profile page, which will show you all of your different affiliations. I just attached myself to a couple organizations in here, but your organization would show up in here and you can click on the dashboard. So I'm going to look at Resets as an example here that I'm now connected to. And this is the organization dashboard. And you'll see from the left-hand side, you'll have the different resources that Reset has. So they have co-working in private offices, accelerator program, and a mentor network. They can go in and edit their profile, which is all the things that show up on that profile page in the resources section, including the name and description, location information, contact information, etc. And they can do that for each program or service that they provide so that people can find it, based on the specific program that they're looking for. We also have a categories section, so they can go and categorize, based on which business phases are they targeting, and then also under the categories, how they can help out a startup. For each of the resources, you can have affiliated events, which is what we're talking about today with the event calendar. And you just click on the pencil icon there next to the events, and you'll see we're on their events page now. And here they can go in, they can add events manually right in the system here. It's pretty simple, just title and summary and description. They can pick a location. We have a number of locations where events happen around the state, or they can add a new location. If you are using a calendar app like a Meetup or Google Calendar, hopefully they do hear us soon. Please put your phone on mute if you can. With a really loud phone. Thank you. If you're using Meetup or Google Calendar, we can include your ICS link into the feed section here so that it automatically imports your events for you. And it'll import most of the information for you pretty well, but you can come in and click on the particular event and make sure that it imported everything correctly and the way you want with the correct location and link and everything like that as well. You can also go in, one thing that the import doesn't do, which is helpful, is to come in and click the categories button, where you can go and then categorize your events so that they'll be found when people are searching on the in the calendar for specific types of events that they're interested in. That's that. So setting up your profile. A couple other things I forgot to go over here. Back on the dashboard, reset dashboard. There's two other sections in here. So startups and mentors. So if you as an organization go into the startup section, you can affiliate startups that are part of the profile with your organization. So if you're working with them, you can go to the available to invite tab and invite those startups to be part of your organization. If you click invite, it sends them an email and just says you want to be part of our network on LaunchEZ. What they're essentially agreeing to do is to provide you with information about their startup. So what do they need? Their demographic information, anything that they fill out as part of their profile, or any of the needs that they're expressing through the searches, you can get access to. I'll talk about some other features of this as well, but one of them is the fact that when they accept to be part of your network, then that's how they end up showing up on your site if you're a LaunchEZ partner that has startups on your site. And the same thing is true for the mentor network. It works the same way. We have mentors already in our platform. If they're part of your mentor network, you can invite them in, and that's how their association of their profile with your organization is connected. A startup or a mentor can be affiliated with multiple organizations in the state, and this is how the platform connects the startup to the organizations. So the other way that you can support the database and the platform is by becoming a LaunchEZ partner. On our website, on the pricing and sign-up page, we have kind of like what the different features are of a partner. So all of the funds from our partners go towards maintaining the database and doing proofreading and reaching out to organizations, adding them to the database, and maintaining the technology. So to promote, as I said, is free. That's just getting the organization dashboard and being able to maintain your profile for your programs and services as well as your events. Our resource partner level is $50 a month or $550 for the year, and that will build a white labeled site for you like you saw with CT Next and Metro Hartford Alliance here and Reset, and you get the resources and the event calendar embedded into that site. The way we've been doing the calendar up to date so far is through an iframe, and that doesn't give you any search engine benefits to your website. It does give people access to it, but it's not the best user experience. So with the white labeled site, they get a much more, it's a mobile friendly experience as well as it gives you the search engine benefits of having that content on your site. The community level is $100 a month or $1,100 for the year, and that gives you the startup modules as well as the mentor modules like we saw on Reset site, as well as the community partner dashboard, which gives you information about what your users are, how they're using LaunchEZ and what they're expressing as their needs on the site. And then our strategic partner level is for organizations that are helping other organizations in the community, essentially, like community organizers. And we have a couple of new modules like the award module, which we used for the Connecticut Entrepreneur Awards earlier this spring. I'll talk about the survey module in a moment, but we also have an API if you want to access the data more as part of a program or in some other fashion, the statistics and or the resource information. And our strategic partners also participate in a quarterly meeting that helps us figure out which resources to add to the database and how to move the technology so that it helps more folks. They also get access to the rest of the strategic partner dashboard, some of the other reporting on the usage of the site. So that's how the strategic partners work. So I wanted to talk about one other, go into the survey a little bit more detail. One of the things that we're going to be launching later in July is going to be called the State of the Entrepreneurial Ecosystem Survey. And there's going to be 2 surveys that go out. One's going to go to organizations that support entrepreneurs, and one's going to go to entrepreneurs themselves. And basically, that if you or the entrepreneur participates in the survey, a few weeks after the survey closes, you'll get a report which goes over, basically gives you information on the results of the survey, as well as like what your peers are doing, to how they're solving certain problems, what trends they're seeing, and those types of things. So by becoming a LaunchEZ partner, you can get access. Just by partaking in the survey, you get access to that report. But if you're a LaunchEZ partner and you're a community partner, you'll get access to all the answers from your startups. And if you're a strategic partner, you'll get access to all the organization responses to the survey as well, to kind of better help you make decisions on your programming and events. So that was a pretty quick rundown. Are there any questions at this point, or anything I can go into deeper?
If you have a question, feel free to take your phone off mute. Otherwise, you'll just be talking to yourself. So, Tim, maybe just I know there are a few folks that are still working on getting their events on the statewide calendar. Maybe just a question on that. So, once they've secured their account on LaunchEZ, I think you go through just a quick approval process, or you essentially allow them in. So is the step that they sort of create an account on LaunchEZ, then you sort of approve them in, and then they have access to be able to go ahead and put their events in?
Yeah, exactly. So like in our administrative portal, I'll show you here. For each organization, we have like a team section. So that's where we will go in and just take that account and then add them as a member of that team, and then they'll have that access to that dashboard for that organization.
Got it. And can you maybe explain what a resource is? Because that's I know that's kind of a common term on the platform, but just so people know what the various things that might be considered a resource.
Yeah, so what we consider, or what we have in here for resources are, we kind of break it down to 3 categories: programs, services, and networks. So a program is something that would either be kind of a free service or a subsidized service for entrepreneurs. Networks are, like any kind of business network or industry network that supports entrepreneurs. And then services are service providers, anyone like, co-working spaces, or anyone who's charging a fee for the service that they provide. And we have a wide range of categories of things that we have in the database now. I can go over to that. From accounting services, capital, business expertise, software development. We've added quite a few categories recently as well.
Cool. And so there are 2 ways to bring your events in. You can either have them come in via the API, in other words, a direct link from your Meetup account or your any of your iCal type calendars, or you can directly enter them. Is that correct?
Exactly right. You can add them in directly here. If you don't have a ton of events, that's kind of a quick and easy way to do it. If you have a lot of events, then setting up the feed will help do the majority of the lift of getting the information into the database.
Right, but it's always good, at least what we're finding is the the data coming from the various different sources, whether it's Meetup or iCal or whatnot, they're not consistent by platform. So coming in just to double check the entry or add a link or whatnot is probably an advisable thing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Are there folks on the call that aren't yet putting their events into LaunchEZ either via the feed or directly? Are there questions that you might have about getting on? Again, this part of it is totally free, and by doing so, you within a few minutes have all of your events literally out to at least 30 websites around the state without really very much effort at all. Is anyone that currently isn't doing that and who has a question? Okay. Well, any other questions that anyone has? And again, if you think you're asking a question, we can't hear you, so you need to unmute. Well, it's not a chatty group, but they must be deep in eating their lunch. But I know there are many people on the call right now. I can see that on the dashboard on my end. But we certainly don't need to prolong it if there are no questions. Tim, anything else that you want to make sure we know in closing?
No. And if anyone has any other questions, the contact information is right on our site, LaunchEZ.com, and they can contact me either by phone or email, and I'll help you through it.
Sounds great. What I'm going to do, this is being recorded, so certainly we will make it into a shorter video and share it on one of our next communications, and certainly put Tim's contact info. But certainly, again, reach out to Tim with any questions. We're happy to help at any time. And again, the more people we get sharing their events on this calendar, and on the other hand, sharing the calendar on their sites, the more powerful it is, and ultimately the easier it is for entrepreneurs to find all of our events. And that's really the intent of all this. We want to make it very accessible for entrepreneurs to find the events in the marketplace that are most appropriate for them. So with that, happy Monday to you all. And if I don't have the benefit of talking to you before the 4th of July, please have a wonderful 4th of July holiday. And, from here, let's make Connecticut great. So talk to y'all soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.